side. Get what we need.
And this is this week's Classic Classic.
All right, these are the Factathlon Finals, and we're starting with our Consolation Finals. That means these teams have actually only had one defeat in the whole season. To my right here is Mishka, and they can introduce themselves.
I'm Debbie Molinari.
Danielle Valenti.
Andrea Kudrez.
Kara Coleman.
Okay, and to my left are the team called the No Names.
Paul Martin. Andrew Shafis. Dave Lynch.
Okay, and why don't we just get started? And we can start off with a short series of questions. These are George questions. The answer to every one of these questions is someone named George. You'll need their last name also. Okay, and I'll say composed Rhapsody in Blue.
George Gershwin.
George Gershwin. Okay, then I'll say the cigar smoking comedian friend.
George Burns.
George Burns of Jack Benny. Okay, then this George composed the Messiah.
Andrea.
You don't hear his first name that often. But it is George. Composed the Messiah. Okay, it's Handel, George Handel. Usually you hear it said Handel's Messiah. Well, it's George Handel. Okay, and this inventor invented the railroad air brake.
George Pullman.
Oh, you're so close. There's the Pullman car, I know.
There's.
Oh, they can't go again.
It's -1.
That's right, it's -1 on the score. But is this side going to go?
No.
All right. Okay, it's George Westinghouse. Okay, now this next George, it's a sports George. He was the home run champ.
George Roof.
George Herman Ruth, that's right. Okay, and this next George was governor of Alabama and was also a former presidential candidate. How soon we forget.
Say it.
Mishka? Want to try it? Okay, that's George Wallace. And our last George in the George series, he was a heavyweight boxing champion, George Foreman, 1973 to 74. All right. Well, we'll get off George's now and do some science-type questions. All right, there's a multiple-choice question, and it might be good to hear all the choices. All the dandelions in a lawn would make up a community, habitat, species, or population.
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 Okay.
All right. This is another multiple choice, and I think it's an easy one. Green plants are producers, consumers, or decomposers?
Produces.
Producers.
Yeah, the brain on the team.
Okay. How about this then? And this is multiple choice. Vines, aerial plants, and tree-living animals are all common in deserts, savannas, temperate forests, tropical rainforests.
Tropical rainforest.
Tropical rainforests. Okay. Let's keep on with the science questions. We're doing so well. At 10,000 feet on a mountain, one would expect to find A, deserts, alpine tundra, or grasslands.
Alpine tundra.
Has to be alpine tundra.
Great, Danielle.
Okay, next question. The passenger pigeon is a species that became extinct in the last 10 years, 100 years, or is not extinct.
100 years.
They buzzed in 100 years, you got the point.
Nice going, Andy.
I knew it.
Okay, let's switch from science to another topic. The Taj Mahal was built in the memory of Shah Jahan's wife, in whose honor was the Arc de Triomphe erected.
Kara, buzz in.
Napoleon?
Napoleon.
She just
Exactly.
tells us all.
Okay, is a long question. You might want to hear every bit of it, although you can buzz in early if you want. French interference in United States commerce led President John Adams to send envoys to France in hopes of avoiding war. The envoys were not met by the Directory then in power, but by 3 go-betweens sent by Talleyrand. The result was an undeclared naval war on France. Name this affair. It's the blank affair.
XYZ?
XYZ. The XYZ affair. Okay. And let's try this. And it's a long question again. In 1879, he invented the automobile engine. In 1880, he created the electric ignition system. In 1885, the automobile's differential gear. Today, a fine automobile bears his name. Who's the inventor of this automobile?
Ford.
No.
Nice try.
Well, we got all the
Ford.
other ones.
No, Ford is a good guess. It's not Henry Ford. That's it? Okay, it's Carl Benz. You have to think of Europe on some of these questions, not just the United States.
Oh, Mercedes.
Okay. A mythology question. When Medusa was slain, a winged horse sprang from her blood. What was the horse called?
Pegasus?
Pegasus.
Alright, Debbie.
All right.
Hey.
Thank you. All right, if I mentioned this list, eventually, what would you say they were? Pegasus, Hydra, Virgo, Lyra, Draco. What are all of these? This is not mythology, even though those are mythological names. They are definitely,
They sound like cars.
okay, they're all constellations. I think some of you knew that, and you kind of wait. Right.
I would have said organisms or something.
Okay. Let's do some classic, easy trivia. The world's largest lake is... This is a classic. The world's largest lake, and its name is kind of a misnomer.
The little
Not really. Largest lake.
small lake.
Caspian Sea.
The Caspian Sea
yeah.
is the world's largest lake.
Mean.
All right. So since we're talking about largest, how about the world's lowest point on land?
Oh,
And this answer might seem a little tricky. It's the lowest point on land,
I don't think so.
but the answer is a body of water. The world's lowest point on land is at a body of water.
Aral Sea.
No, but logical. Time's up. It's the Dead Sea. Is the world's lowest point. Okay, let's do some highest then. Highest mountains. How about the highest mountain in all of North America is known as? It's in the United States.
McKinley.
McKinley. Mount McKinley. Okay, the highest mountain in Africa.
Is it there?
Is it called PH?
Okay, it's Mount Kilimanjaro. And in Europe, the highest mountain is...
Mount Everest?
Wrong continent.
Shut up. Oh, stop.
Okay, it's Mont Blanc, like the fountain pen.
My second guess.
All right, how about the highest mountain in the world?
Mount
Mount
Everest.
Everest.
All right, Mount Everest, finally.
Whatever.
Okay, let's try something very different here. Maybe we'll get lucky. All right, why don't you try and name this book, and I'll give you a few quick clues about the book. How about it's Robert Louis Stevenson's pirate, Long John Silver, wants young Jim Hawkins's map. What book?
Treasure Island?
Sure, it's Treasure Island.
Oh, I can
Okay, how about trying to name this book? And later it was a movie too. H.G. Wells. H.G. Wells's Victorian traveler visits 3 world wars and the year 802,701. And that's a book by H.G. Wells.
Time machine?
Time machine, it has to be. How else do you get to visit the year 802,701? All right, let's try naming this book and movie. An FBI woman needs a killer to catch a killer.
Silence of the Lambs?
Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
All right, here's a story that I believe most high school students have read. I just believe this. I read it in high school. 2 cowboys watch a posse get out of hand and hang 3 innocent men. 2 cowboys watch a posse get out of hand and hang 3 innocent men. Name that short story. Time's up. Oh, it's the Oxbow incident. See, now I thought that was an easy
That's
one.
next week's agenda.
yeah.
All right. That was, well, actually, that was kind of miserable. All right. Name this book. An author recovers from an accident and is
Misery?
and is nursed by a twisted fan. All right, more literature. Literature's going so well. Name this play, Shakespeare's Danish Prince. Danish Prince avenges his father, who was slain by his mother's new husband. What's the play?
Think of it. Is it right there? Oh, Hamlet.
Hamlet.
I
Okay.
saw that movie.
All right, now, I'm going to read a list of books, and they're all by the same author, and it's an author that's very popular with middle school students, and high school students, and even old people, maybe. Who's the author of the following? The Curse of the Blue Figurine, The Mummy, The Will, and the Crypt, The Revenge of the Wizard's Ghost, The Spell of the Sorcerer's Skull, The Eyes of the Killer Robot,
But I think that's,
and The Trolley to Yesterday.
I think that's what it is.
Something buzzing.
I don't think so.
What's this quiz?
Favorite books of
I'm thinking-
intelligent
okay.
middle school students.
I don't know, but. Alright, so it can't be that.
Okay, it's John Bellairs. Maybe they're not as popular as I thought.
That's cool.
All right, let's try this, sticking with literature. Name this American classic. Mark Twain's boy hero meets a bogus king.
Tom Sawyer.
Mm.
I knew it.
Mark Twain's boy hero meets a bogus king and duke while rafting the Mississippi with Jim.
Huckleberry Finn.
Huckleberry
Oh,
Finn.
she can't cut. She doesn't play.
All right.
No.
This is cool.
I like this category. No one else does, but I like it. All right.
I'm just a kid.
Name this book, which became a movie. A writer again, goes mad with his wife and son at a snowbound Colorado hotel. What's the book?
Is it that, oh, it's the one with Jack Nicholson in it. It's, what is it?
All right, the book and the movie that I liked was, the book and the movie, they were both called The Shining.
The Shining, see? Jack Nicholson was in it.
Okay, that's right, Jack Nicholson. All right, we can get off books now for a minute. All right, this psychological personality test utilizes ink blots, symmetrical patterns.
Rorschach test?
The Rorschach test. Okay. It's a little biology. What anatomical structure in the human body serves to assure equal air pressure on both sides of the eardrum? Everyone has them. Frogs have them. People have them. Named for a Roman biologist.
Nose.
Okay, it's the eustachian tube, named for Eustachius. Last question? All right, well, the last question on my list here happens to be, I can't say easy question, I've said that before. You know what happens when I say easy question. What is an adult female fox called? What's the word for an adult female fox?
A vixen?
A vixen.
Oh, right.
And I think that's the end of the game. And Mr. Little, do we have a score there? We have Mishka 12, and the no names 3.
5.
Sorry?
Hi, Mom.
5. Mishka 12, no names 5. And that concludes that part of the match. Thank you very much. Well,
Don't make no mistakes, Peach.
okay, this is the last Factathlon game of the year. This is the final. These are the 2 remaining teams. One of these 2 teams will be the Burlington High School champion. There are 24 teams, and we finally narrowed it down to these 2. On my right are the 3 horsemen, they like to call themselves now. Could you introduce yourselves?
Joe.
Ted. PJ.
Okay, thanks a lot. A little silly, but that's okay. And over here, we've got the eventual champions.
This is Doug Gailing. Greg Polo. And this is Ken Brush.
All right, thanks a lot.
Silly boys.
Not bad. Let's just start with the science question. Plants that store water in their leaves or stems are called blank.
Succulents?
Succulents. They're called succulents. Okay, a biology and Latin question. We're looking for a plural. What is the plural of the word ovum? O-V-U-M? How about a plural? Ova. Ova. Easy ova. Okay, what body of water separates Cape Cod from the mainland?
PJ what? PJ what? PJ what?
Cape Cod from the mainland. Cape Cod is separated. The canal. Throw the question out. It's the Cape Cod Canal. Give me a break. All right, then. In 1924, the French Boxing Commission officially banned fighters from doing what at the end of a fight? It caused a lot of trouble. In 1924, finally, the French Boxing Commission officially banned fighters from doing what at the end of a fight? Okay, yes, you're right. It's France. It's kissing. They banned kissing at the end of fights.
Quit laughing, please.
Okay. Capistrano is visited by swallows each year. Okay. What scavenger visits Hinckley, Ohio every year at about the same time? Capistrano is visited by swallows, but Hinckley gets visited by...
No, it's 2-0. Wilson.
This is not a joke.
Okay, we're done laughing.
Buzzards. Hinckley, Ohio is visited by buzzards each year.
Well, why didn't you ring in?
Okay, if Earth science, if you found a rock with ripple marks in it, would it be, and this is multiple choice, igneous, sedimentary, or metamorphic?
Sedimentary.
Sedimentary.
We're getting killed.
Okay,
Let's go.
6 p.m. in military time would be what?
1,800 hours.
1,800 hours. All right, which
nothing.
music? Here we go, music. Which of Beethoven's symphonies starts off with 3 repeated notes? Very famous Beethoven symphony starts with 3.
Fifth.
That's right, Beethoven's Fifth.
Let's get going now. 4
All right, then, let's, totally different type of question. A little bit of sports, a little bit of math. Not much of either, really. What's the lowest number on a striped ball in billiards?
9.
9.
Jeez.
Okay. All right, let's try some literature.
Oh,
The
God.
book, Animal Farm.
George Orwell.
All right, it's George Orwell. Wow. Is an allegory of the Russian Revolution, and it was written by George Orwell.
Give us a chance.
All right, then. In 1948, author Eric Blaine wrote a very famous novel. What was Eric Blaine's real name? In 1948, author Eric Blaine wrote a very famous novel. What was Eric Blaine's real name?
Parker.
Okay, George Orwell.
-1.
That's -1. -1.
Okay, it's -1. Thank you.
Boy.
We'll take care of that.
People ain't heard us say George Orwell.
All right. You probably want to listen carefully to this one. How many zeros are in this number? 106,000.
4.
4. That's all. -1. Okay, what state in the United States has an abbreviation, a postal abbreviation, that's the same as a common conjunction?
Oregon.
Oregon.
Oh my God.
OR.
We're getting rolled here. Come
All
on.
right. Here's a classic. Classic book, classic movie. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson prowl foggy moors to save Sir Henry from a killer dog family curse.
Hound of the Baskervilles.
Hound of the Baskervilles. Okay, let's do some science
bent.
questions.
He's wicked.
All right, here goes the description, and the answer will be multiple choice. The idea that the best adapted organisms survive and reproduce is called.
Survival of the fittest.
Okay, but I'm going to read a multiple
Could you
choice
repeat the
with
question,
the terms.
Dr. Luther?
Here goes. The idea, you have the right idea, but the idea that the best adapted organisms survive and reproduce is called spontaneous generation, extraterrestrial taxonomy, or natural selection.
Natural selection.
Natural selection. I think you would have got that if you heard the whole question.
Yeah.
All right, get ready for this one.
Okay, let's go.
And it's multiple choice. And I did say get ready for this one. Maggots come from.
Buzz, Dan. Flies.
Flies.
What the hell are you thinking?
All right, I'll take it. Fly eggs. It was going to be meat, broth, pupae, or fly eggs. And the reason I said ready is this is Francesco Reddy's experiment. I did that.
Okay. We're higher than
All
that,
right.
aren't we?
With
8-1?
two.
With 2, I thought. Hold on.
What, they have 8?
Your body, this is multiple choice, would experience the most pressure on a water surface, on a mountaintop, underwater.
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 I'm not even paying attention.
Okay, more science.
Enough of science.
This is a multiple choice. The number of vibrations per unit of time is wavelength, frequency, velocity.
Frequency.
Frequency.
Good job, Joe.
Good job, Joe. Thank you.
Okay, this is multiple choice. As frequency increases, wavelength Increases?
Decreases.
Decreases.
We're getting beat on the buzzer.
Okay.
First
A
time ever.
sound with a frequency of 30,000 vibrations per second. All right, this is multiple choice. Has a long wavelength, cannot be heard by human beings, could not occur in a green room. A sound with a frequency of 30,000 vibrations per second. Cannot be heard by human beings.
I didn't even understand the
I
freaking
did.
question.
A sound with a frequency of 30,000 vibrations per second. And it has a long wavelength,
Okay.
cannot be heard by human
Sure.
beings.
11-2. Wow.
All right,
Let's give up. Just kidding.
All right, let's go.
which of these would be used to store electricity? Multiple choice. A triode, a diode, a capacitor, or a transistor?
Yeah.
Capacitor.
Capacitor.
Nice job.
And that's -1. Too bad. I know. Try and lay off the buzzer. Okay. This is multiple choice again. Traveling at 5 kilometers per hour, which would have more momentum of what I'm going to list here? A golf ball, a bowling ball, a soccer ball, or a tennis ball?
Bowling ball.
A bowling ball.
All right, let's come back.
Don't hit the buzzer.
All right, a short multiple choice type question. A hypothesis is a or an fact, law, educated guess.
Educated guess.
Educated guess.
11-4.
Okay. The water table is closest to the surface of the ground, usually in a or an hilltop, hillside, valley.
Valley.
Okay.
That's right.
Should we stick to science?
No.
No.
All right, we'll try something completely different then. What dwarf? See, you didn't want science, I switched to dwarfs.
Right.
Okay, what dwarf in Grimm's fairy tales spun straw into gold?
Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Good life.
Okay, you didn't want science. So,
History, geography, it is something.
the esophagus is the tube. This is not science. The esophagus is the tube joining the throat and the stomach. What is a sarcophagus? A sarcophagus.
PJ?
It's where like dead bodies are put.
It's a tomb.
Tomb.
A tomb.
Okay.
Not the
Or a
tomb.
coffin. Okay, what saying begins with these words? Quote, I swear by Apollo physician,
The Hippocratic Oath.
the Hippocratic Oath.
The Hippocratic Oath.
Okay. All right, I think I'd like to get back to science questions.
Oh, jeez.
Okay,
Figures.
multiple choice. Which of the following can see ultraviolet light reflected as a color? People, dogs, bees, earthworms.
People.
Oh, Joe.
Bees?
Bees.
Joe.
Sorry,
listen.
Can you see ultraviolet?
Okay. More science. A frog's heart has 1, 2, 3.
2 chambers?
Sorry. A frog's heart has 1, 2, 3, or 4 chambers. 1, 2, 3, or 4 chambers.
Oh, we're having a good time. Obviously, it's 1.
They're giving the answers.
Say something. Say something.
One.
No, it's 3.
All right.
Okay. The diffusion of water, this is multiple choice again, through a membrane is called osmosis, turgor,
Osmosis.
osmosis.
Wow.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. 14-3.
Okay, the breeding habits of fiddler crabs could be an example of a tropism, a reflex, a biological clock, a learned behavior. The breeding habits of fiddler crabs.
A.
Nope. The breeding habits of fiddler crabs could be an example of a tropism, a reflex, a biological clock, or a learned behavior.
You gotta take this.
From other crabs.
It's obviously.
Biological clock.
Biological clock.
You see, I thought that was a joke.
No. All right. I think this is an easy question. Multiple choice. A maple tree is a or an annual, perennial, or herbaceous plant.
Perennial. All right. Perennial.
Perennial. Okay.
They're mocking us.
15-3.
Some pastas.
All right, here's a sort of an American history question. The Carnegies built their empire on steel. In what business did the Astor family found their fortune?
Clothing, I think.
Clothing.
Not quite.
Clothing, he thinks.
It's funny, Ted.
Last question is like you need your shine box.
You were close. It's fur.
Oh.
Fur is clothing.
Yeah,
If I'm not
That
mistaken, Mr.
Look
Luther.
at the specific.
you are right, but all clothing is not fur.
That's right.
And we'll talk about this more later.
Okay.
All right.
We're out of here soon as this is over.
Citizens of a North African capital city and a citrus fruit have the same name. Really? What's the name?
Tangerines.
Tangerines.
I hate that kid.
A North African city, Tangiers, and the fruit, tangerines.
He's looking at his clock.
Okay,
Grapefruitians.
American government. If the President of the United States should die in office, and the Vice President who succeeds him
Secretary of State.
should also die simultaneously, let me go on with the question for the other team.
So I take
If the
that.
President of the United States should die in office and the
Speaker.
Vice President who succeeds him should also die simultaneously during the term, who would succeed him as President?
Speaker. Speaker of the House?
Speaker of the House. If I'm wrong, I owe you a point, but,
Like stone. Did you say it? Anyways.
all right.
Let's get this last one. The shine box.
Okay. Literature or poetry, you might say. Language arts is the category. Anonymous narrative songs preserved by oral tradition are called sonnets, literary epics, free verse, or ballads.
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 Gives a lot of device.
And the final score is. What is the final score, Mr. Little? 3. The three horsemen happen to have 3 points.
We did that on
And
target.
the eventual champions, 16 fair and righteous points. All right. Thank you very
This
much.
belongs to me.